Imagine this. You steal a loaf of bread. You're caught. But instead of jail or a fine, you're sewn into a leather sack alongside a monkey, a dog, a snake, and a rooster. Then you're tossed into a river to drown together in blind panic. This isn't a twisted fable. This was Roman justice. History isn't just written by the victors. It's soaked in blood, in fear, in pain. Behind the ancient world's grand monuments and scrolls of wisdom lay darker chapters, times when justice wasn't blind, but viciously cruel. Today, we journey into the disturbing depths of history to uncover the most bizarre ancient punishments ever recorded. From fire-filled bulls to elephants trained to kill, these weren't just punishments. They were performances, warnings, tools of terror. These are not stories for the faint-hearted. Let's begin. The Brazen Bull, Greece. In ancient Sicily, under the tyrant Phalaris, justice came in the shape of a gleaming brass sculpture. It looked like a bull, but it was hollow inside. Prisoners were locked inside it. Then, a fire was lit beneath. As the metal heated, the person inside roasted alive. Their screams echoed through a system of tubes that transformed their cries into the sounds of a bull's roar. The creator of this device, Perillus, proudly demonstrated it to Phalaris, but the tyrant, disgusted, or perhaps amused by the invention, ordered Perillus to be the first victim. Lingchi, ancient China. Known as death by 1,000 cuts, Lingchi was a prolonged execution method used in imperial China for crimes like treason or patricide. The condemned was tied to a wooden frame. Then, piece by piece, their flesh was sliced off, starting from the limbs, the chest, the face, before the final blow to the heart ended their agony. But this wasn't just about death. It was about disgrace. The body, dismembered and mutilated, was seen as unfit for the afterlife. Poena Cullei, ancient Rome. For those who killed their fathers, Rome reserved a fate beyond imagination. The Poena Cullei was the punishment of the sack. The condemned was whipped, then sewn into a leather sack with 4 live animals: a dog, a monkey, a snake, and a rooster. Then the sack was thrown into a river. Drowning was inevitable, but the real torment came from the chaos inside. Teeth, claws, screams, writhing panic. It was punishment not just for the body, but the soul. Trial by ordeal. Europe and beyond. Not all ancient punishments were direct executions. Some left fate in the hands of gods. Trial by ordeal existed across many ancient societies. A suspect might be forced to carry a red-hot iron or plunge their hand into boiling water. If they emerged unscathed, they were deemed innocent. If not, guilty. Innocence often came too late. Execution by elephant. India and Southeast Asia. In parts of ancient South and Southeast Asia, elephants weren't just royal animals, they were executioners. Trained to kill slowly or quickly, these elephants could crush bones, twist limbs, or trample a body entirely. Rulers used elephants not just for punishment, but as public demonstrations of power. The condemned were often brought into arenas, and death came with terrifying spectacle. The tub, ancient Persia. Scaphism, or the boats, was one of the most excruciating punishments known. The condemned was placed in a hollowed log or tub with just their head and limbs sticking out. Then, milk and honey were poured over their body and force-fed to them. Left in the sun, the mixture attracted insects. The victim was slowly eaten alive over days, sometimes weeks. This was not execution. This was prolonged, torturous decay. Sawing in half. Middle East and Europe. One of the most horrifying methods involved suspending a person upside down and sawing them in half, from the groin to the head. Being upside down kept the person alive longer as blood rushed to the brain. Used as punishment for political traitors and religious dissenters, this act was public and designed to instill maximum fear. The crocodile pit, ancient Southeast Asia. Some rulers, especially in Khmer and Thai kingdoms, maintained crocodile pits for executions. Prisoners were thrown into the water, sometimes tied to bait, were already wounded. The spectacle of nature devouring the condemned was both punishment and a grotesque show of royal power. The breaking wheel, medieval Europe. The wheel was not swift justice. It was slow, methodical destruction. The condemned was tied to a large wooden wheel. Limbs were broken one by one with iron bars, then woven through the wheel's spokes. The body was displayed until death or days after. This punishment was often reserved for murderers and traitors. Flaying alive, Assyria and beyond. One of the most feared punishments in the ancient Near East was skinning. The Assyrians famously flayed rebels and hung their skins on city walls as warnings. It wasn't just execution, it was a message carved in pain. These stories are hard to tell. They're harder to imagine. And yet, they were real. In every empire, in every civilization, punishment has served not just justice, but fear. A tool of control, a ritual of vengeance, and sometimes a spectacle to entertain. What does it say about us that so much of human history is soaked in such cruelty? Perhaps the true horror isn't just what we did, but how we watched. History isn't just written in ink. It's carved in pain.